Welcome to Balance, the show encouraging moms to shed the guilt and create their own balance to work motherhood and not have motherhood work them. It's now time to create a new mindset, and for the time we have together, I hope to help you do just that. Hi, I'm Veronica BT. The hot question going around the virtual water cooler these days is, did you get that stimulus check yet? If you have, what are your plans for the money? If you're like me, getting some financial guidance never hurts. Here to give us some tips on what we can do to make sure your money is working for you is financial literacy coach Lisaret Campusano. All right, Lisa, thank you so much for joining us today. We are really excited to have you.
Thank you for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
So I think what the thought, like I said in the intro, what many people are talking about today is, did you get that stimulus check? If you got it, we have been seeing posts with everyone putting up what they're going to be doing with their money, how happy that they are, that they received it, direct deposit. Here it is. I've never seen people talk about how much is being deposited into their bank before. I think like that is something that has never happened before.
I know everyone is super excited about it. I mean, it's just it's human nature, especially during times like this. You feel like that would be a bonus in a way. To I mean, people unfortunately are getting furlough or getting laid off, so that money helps. But in other cases, some people see it as in like, okay, I still have my job, so this is extra money.
Yeah. So the first question that I want to ask you is that I've been hearing a lot of financial experts say that this is the time to not pay your bills. Explain that.
Yeah, the reason why that is because now is the time where you can get away with a lot. Okay, especially with everything that's happening. Businesses are forced to shut down and close their doors, and people are getting laid off. So that means there's no income coming in. Because of that, that means that you know if you've been affected, it's going to be really hard for you to pay your bills. So it would definitely be beneficial for you to call and let people know, call your creditors, call, I guess, your monthly expenses, and let them know that, listen, I just don't have it right now. Okay. And that's fine, because a lot of people are planning to get those phone calls, or anticipating to get those phone calls of people that cannot just afford to pay their bills right now. So yes, it is a good time to make sure that you are taking advantage of all the possibilities of you just being able to save more money or allocating money elsewhere.
And is this the same with your credit cards? Are you able to call and ask them to bring down the interest rate during this time, or to even, give you some time before you make your payments?
I feel like if you do not ask, you won't receive, right? And I think that's actually something that it's in the Bible, really. And in reality speaking, it just pertains to this time as well. It's good for you to be more active, call your creditors, let them know what's happening. They're not going to argue with you, because a lot of people are in the same predicament. So it is a good time for you to take advantage of the benefits that you may have, especially if you've had these credit cards for a long period of time. Call them and let them know, listen, I've been loyal, I've been with you guys for quite some time, I'm going through a hardship right now, financial hardship. Can you guys work with me, bring down the interest rate? Or do I have am I able to stop paying for a period of time? And if so, they can maybe work with you on getting a lower payment together and things like that. So therefore it can benefit you, and not having to put yourself into more of a financial hardship.
So now that you've made these payments, I'm sorry, now that you've called to delay these payments, what do you do with this extra cash that you have? I mean, we're talking about couples with children. They've received what, maybe about $3,400. Even if you're single, you're getting about $1,200. No children, about $2,400. This could be a good investment. How do you know what you should do with this extra cash that you now have?
That's actually a great question. I would definitely say that it's important that you make every single dollar stretch, because to be honest, 3,400 isn't a lot of money, especially if you have a household of four, five. that can pretty much run up really quickly. And it's important for you to make sure that now more than ever, you're budgeting. You know exactly where every single dollar is going. You're tracking your money, because the what you want to do is make that money last. Especially if you right now or find yourself in a situation where you don't know where your next income is going to be or when it's going to come, then it's important for you to make that money stretch. So identify your wants versus your needs, track your spending, and create a proper budget that would allow you to stretch that $3,400 for an extended period of time.
How long would you say that 3,400 can actually last?
In New York,
It's so difficult.
it would, I would possibly think maybe if you stretch it, depending on the household size, could be easily maybe 2 months. Again, it plays a factor knowing the circumstances of the family. If the family does not have an income but yet has to pay their mortgage or their rent and has to provide food and has to make sure that they keep the lights on and things like that, then yeah, you can probably stretch it a month or two, but reality speaking, it can run up really quickly. So that's why it's important to make sure that you're being strategic about the money that you're receiving.
So would you say then, so now is the time to hold on to as much cash as possible? So would you say maybe that this is not the time to invest, like into the stock market, or or Roth IRAs? Like, is this the time to really start to get I guess money savvy with your investments, like saying, oh, I have this account, I have that account, or should you try to hold on to as much cash as possible?
That's actually a great question. I would honestly say that there is, excuse me, there is not what one answer fits all for that question, because it honestly, a lot of factors play into that, because not everybody is the same type of investor. So first, you need to identify what type of investor you are. Are you more of a conservative type, which meaning that, you cringe at the fact of losing any money? Are you a moderate investor, meaning that you're okay with some losses here and there for the long-term growth? Or are you more of an aggressive investor where, go hard or go home? So it all depends on where you find yourself, and then depending on where you are in your investment risk, then that's how you should properly allocate your money. But one thing that I would actually say that is important to diversify, and honestly, it's really hard to tell someone to start investing if you don't even have an emergency fund. Okay, so I think again, it's a lot of factors that play into that. If you don't have an emergency fund, you need to build a nest egg like yesterday. Okay, because times like this prove us that no job is secure, that we never know how long this can go and to what extent. So that means that we need more money now to be able to fend for ourselves for the time being. And then we can think about, again, extra money that you have left over, where can I allocate that?
So let's talk to the people who are just starting out. Maybe like they don't have this emergency fund, so they've received this money. What should their budget look like?
I definitely
What
feel
this
like
emergency fund?
what their budget should look like, I think they should definitely allocate that money into three categories. Okay, the first category will be, any expenses or debt that they cannot just, put to the side for right now. A portion of that should be for your savings, and then a portion of that should go in investments. Okay, I definitely feel like I'm very big on diversifying. You should have your money, especially, and I talk about this in my workshops all the time, you should have every single dollar working for you any way that you can. See, when you're paying debt, you're paying interest to someone else. When you have your money working for you, an account that can give you a higher rate of return, that's money working for you.
Mhm.
Okay, so it's really important with that money to diversify it. If you have manageable debt or unmanageable debt, understanding the difference between the two. For example, unmanageable debt is when your monthly expenses and your debt are more than what your net income is. So what you make after taxes a month. And then so that's unmanageable debt. Then manageable debt will be, you know, your monthly expenses and your debt are about half of your income. So and that's the case, if you have manageable debt, then I would say allocate more money towards your emergency fund and investments, other than, worrying so much about debt at the time being.
So with your emergency fund, let's say, what's a percentage of that check that you get? How much of that should you try to set aside for an emergency fund?
That's actually a great question. I would honestly say, depending on how you're looking to allocate, are you looking to just divide it into two buckets or three buckets, meaning of all three, all debt, debt expenses, savings, and emergent investments? If you're looking to divide it into all three of those buckets and divide it evenly, and if you're looking to, just divide it into two buckets and divide it evenly as well. But I kind of want to actually take that back just a bit, because of the simple fact, if that person does not have an emergency fund, then I will probably allocate majority of that money, probably like 70% into an emergency fund.
So it's like, put it there, don't even think about it.
Don't even think about it, because you just never know when that money is going to be something that you're going to need now. And when you have your money tied up in investments, there's not much liquidity, right? So if you need to access that money, you will probably have to wait, like maybe probably give yourself a week to be able to get that money. But if you need that money now, you have that money accessible for you. So it's good to have that in a nest egg.
Are there, and what did you say? You said a nest egg?
Yes.
Can you just explain what that is?
A nest egg is another way to say an emergency fund.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, so I just want to make sure everybody understands the term.
No, that's great.
So, okay. So now that you have, you've received it, you're setting aside money for the emergency fund. Um, what if you, and like you said, you should call your creditors to make sure that you can set aside those bills. But what about that person who's kind of worried that they may need to dip into the emergency fund? When should you be dipping into your emergency fund? Because for me, I'm thinking only for dire emergencies, not if especially in this pandemic, not if I don't have enough to pay the bill. You're saying to call the creditor and tell them I just don't have it. But when should they dip into that emergency fund?
I feel like when you just absolutely have, like, you exhausted all of your other options, right? For example, if you're calling and you're able to negotiate a payment plan, or bring your payments lower, or you know skip your payments for the time being, or whatever the case is, if you're able to do that, then by all means, don't use the money of your emergency fund. Only use it if literally they're about to evict you, which is going to be really hard to do during this time, reality speaking. So if you really need that money, for in the event of premature death in the family, or a sickness, a health condition, whatever the case is, that is like you have no other resort, you have no other options but to dip in your emergency fund, like you said, a dire need, you absolutely need that money, no questions asked.
So what would you say? Are there any like banks that you recommend, or any type of investments that you recommend to put your emergency fund in, so that you're able to acquire interest as the money is sitting there?
That's actually a great question. So I would definitely say look for banks that can give you a higher rate of return. I know the national average is about 0.02%, which is not much, is less than 1%.
Hmm.
So I would definitely say, I know online banks can give you a higher rate of return, but
I
again, it's,
know Ally is one of those banks.
yes, yes. So online banks, some of them, and majority of them now, are giving people a higher rate of return. It can even go up to 2.75%. I think I even seen higher. So therefore, that means that you have your money in a account, a vehicle, where it's still working for you. Okay, so therefore, you're having, getting some interest rate, getting some dividends, or whatever the case is, and therefore it's not just sitting there collecting dust like it would be in other banks, right? So that's why it is definitely important to look maybe for online banks. Any other type of investments, again, I would first need to see what type of investor you are, to therefore be able to guide you a little bit more in that scenario. But if you want liquidity, I would definitely say look for some online bank.
And for those who are good in the emergency department, like let's say they are saying, okay, I received this money, I already have a stash for my emergency fund. I'm pretty good when it comes to my bills. I really just want to build wealth. What
Yeah.
is this a good time to invest in the stock market? What other type of investments do you think they should be looking at?
That's actually a great question. So I actually get that question asked a lot. And honestly, from my personal opinion, I would personally get into the market right now because things are, the stocks are low, shares are low. So you can buy more for less and therefore being able to stash it away for long term. I mean, I'm more of a long term investor. Some people I like to day trade or, I'm not, so my expertise are not in that area. I'm more of like, if you're going to invest, for example, if I invest personally, I'm going to invest for the long term in mind. So now would be a good time to buy low and being able to, extend it and have it for a long period of time and then cash out later on. So I think for now would probably be a good time, in my personal opinion, to get into the market because the stocks are low.
And what about those who are, who are trying to save for a home? Because not only have you received this stimulus check, but maybe you've also received a tax return. Is this the time to buy a home, or should they wait?
If you find yourself in a situation to be able to buy a home right now, go for it. Because again, interest rates are going to be low. You can probably, get away with being able to put a lower down payment without much of worrying about the PMI. So, which means if you put a down payment that's less than 20%, you normally will get hit with a PMI, which is an insurance on that money just to protect the creditors. So in that case, that will probably be low as well. So I would say whatever you can get away with, if you're able to be able to, if you find yourself in a situation to be able to invest in a home, go for it because a home, it builds equity. You can later on decide to use it as a rental property if you choose, and that's cash flow, that's rental income that's coming in that can support, that can use to pay for your living expenses. So yes, absolutely, I would definitely recommend that for the people that find themselves in that situation. Go for it.
And how do we make sure that we're teaching our children and making sure that they are also equipped when it comes to their finances? Because it's not something that we should just start getting good at as we become adults. So how do we make sure that we are all making sure that we're all thinking about wealth as a family?
I definitely feel like it is important, and I unfortunately situations like this have to happen for people to kind of get a wake up call because we've been talking about protecting people or in other way preparing them for situations like this, and unfortunately people um plan, basically they fail to plan, and because of the failure to plan, that's it tends to affect people in a very negative way. So because of that, I definitely feel like it is important that people are getting the financial education, are learning. Okay, fine, position yourself to learn, especially with money. If you have money coming in or coming out, which is majority of the population, really speaking, if you work for money or anything that has to do with money, we need to learn how money works. Because if you don't learn how money works, money is going to control you. So you can either choose to control your money or your money will control you. So you decide which you want to be your reality. If you want to control your money, then you need to understand how it works. Because just like any other game, money has its games. Money is a game, and you need to understand the rules of that game in order to win. So I definitely advise people, especially if you have children that are looking up to you, kids, they pick up on things that you do, not what you say. And I know that because I actually was a teacher for about 4 years,
Mhm.
and I, was around middle schoolers, my majority, for a extended period of time. And I was with them all the time. I know how they think. I know how they react. I know, their thought process. So again, they pick up on what their parents do, not necessarily say. So it's important for you to lead by example as a parent. Position yourself to learn, position yourself to actually start implementing the strategies that you'll be learning, whether that's in a workshop, in a webinar. And your kids, tell them what you're doing, get them involved. Tell them that, hey, mommy is saving, daddy is saving for your future. Okay, get them involved in that process. Get them to start thinking, this is money that we're going to be able to use to pay for your college, right? Or to buy a new home, right? So get them involved, and we're emotional human beings, so get them involved in that process as well.
Excellent. Just quickly, just tell us about the workshops that you all are doing, about the organization that you're with, and you're running virtual workshops right now.
Yes, I absolutely am. I'm running virtual workshops right now. They're absolutely free. I'm actually going to be sharing my screen with you really quickly just so you can see um,
Excellent.
right here. These are the workshops. If we have people that are watching this, definitely text. You know, you can text workshop to this number right here to register. The workshops are free. Like I mentioned, we're going to go over increasing your cash flow, finding money that you didn't even know that you were misusing. How can you budget strategically? Finding areas that you can cut back on. Now, when it comes to debt, understanding once again when you have manageable or unmanageable debt, how to get out of debt in a much shorter time frame, building a strong financial foundation. I mean, I cannot stress the importance of this workshop because a lot of people, they want to be able to, they're building their financial house the wrong way. So we're helping people understand how to build it correctly, proper protection, understanding why life insurance is essential, understanding the different types of life insurances there is out there because there's so many that you can choose from, building wealth. One of my favorite workshops because many of us, we want to build wealth, but we have no idea how to do so. So this workshop helps people with the building block as well. And then last but not least, for those of you that are looking to probably position yourself, either start a new career or start a skill part-time, we're also talking to people that would like to get into the financial industry, and we're helping with that process, getting your credentials, your licenses, so you can also not only educate people on personal finance, but at the same time consult. So that's pretty much in a nutshell. We're going to be starting tomorrow. Well, actually tonight it's Monday. We're going to be starting tonight at 8 p.m. And pretty much this will normally take people 2 months. When we were doing our workshops in person, it would take us 2 months to be able to graduate someone from the workshop series, but we're doing it in 4 consecutive days. So it's intense, but it's definitely worth it. We're getting a lot of graduates. And at the same time, we're even raffling gifts. We have gift cards. We have a couple winners from our last workshop that we did. So again, this is if you want to participate in this, if you want to be a part of this, if you want to just learn for yourself and also how to position your family to be better financially, then you want to be here.
Lisa, if you could just, because we're most likely going to air this probably on Wednesday, if you could just say this is starting this week, and then also just continue on with what you said from that, why they want to join.
Yes. So this is definitely starting this week. And one of the reasons why you want to or you want to be part of this workshop is because of the simple fact that, you know, we're going to be teaching you on how you can increase your cash flow. Okay. Learning how you can budget your money, learning how you can find money that you didn't even know that you were misspending. At the same time, we're going to also be talking about, once you find an additional extra money, what you can do is that you can put that money somewhere else. So for example, towards your debt, understanding manageable debt and unmanageable debt. Then at the same time, we're going to be going over building a strong financial foundation, which is helping you with the building block of building your financial house correctly. Proper protection is understanding the different types of life insurances, how do they work, why is life insurance essential, and the different types that there is out there. And then we also have building wealth. See, many of us, we want to build wealth, but many people have no idea how to do so. So we help you in that area as well, how to build this properly. And then number 4, for those people that want to position themselves to earn an additional source of income or just possibly start a new career in the financial industry, we have a workshop that focuses on that as well. We're going to be raffling gift cards, and at the same time, you get a certification upon completion. 4 consecutive days. We're starting. This is something that we're going to be going on for quite some time. So if you miss it, don't worry. We're going to be going it again. Just text that number, and therefore we'll be able to make sure that you register and you can get started with the workshop series.
Excellent. I love it. It looks great. It's definitely a workshop that everyone should definitely participate in. I have one more question for you.
Yes.
Will we get one more check from the government? Is there going to be another stimulus check coming in?
That's actually a great question. At first, at first, I thought we would. It doesn't seem that way.
I think there's a lot of wishful thinking. Everyone is asking that question. Are we
Yeah,
getting a second stimulus check?
I
That's
know
what
many of us,
looks like.
many, many people are waiting for it. It doesn't seem like we are, especially with everything that's going on. It's a possibility. I know at first that was the whole idea. It was, 1 month you'll get a stimulus check, and the next month, and I believe it was going to be for 2 months. But I don't know. I really don't. I really can't tell.
We're just gonna have to wait and see.
Yeah, we're kind of like in a weird, like in a gray area right now. So
And when we do, we'll definitely reach out to you again.
absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. It was so much fun doing this.
Yes, before we leave, let us know your social media handles and how someone can reach you.
Yes, so one of the ways that you can definitely reach me is through social media. So I definitely have my social media handle. My Instagram is at Lisa NYC _. Okay, that's a way that you can reach me. Also, my number, if you want to reach me through text or just give me a call, way that you can do that is through 929-269-3365. That is my phone number. Once again, that's 929-269-3365. And also, if you want to email me, that would be Lisaret Campusano at gmail.com. So my first and last name at gmail.com. So that would be a way that, folks can reach me.
Excellent, Lisa. Thank you so much. Continue to stay safe and healthy, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you so much for having me. Enjoy the rest of your day.
You too. Take care.
Thank you so much for joining us. You can catch a new episode of Balance right here on our YouTube page for Moms Make It Work. Make sure to hit that subscribe button right here and subscribe to Balance, a new mindset for moms, wherever you listen to podcasts. Continue to stay safe and healthy, and remember, no matter the circumstances, to always let your light shine.